This is an unprecedented moment in American political history. The image that you're looking at behind me is that of Donald Trump in the courthouse in Manhattan. Now, this is for the first time in the history of the United States of America that a sitting or a former American president has in fact been arrested. This is the moment as Donald Trump walked inside of the Manhattan prison, accompanied by his legal team. He's voluntarily surrendered. And what this effectively means is that Donald Trump is now currently under arrest. But according to reports, what is expected is that once the arraignment process is complete, once the judge in fact has read out the charges against him, he will be allowed to walk on a bail that he will secure. This, of course, is a moment to in fact behold, because what we are looking at is an important moment of history that is unfolding in front of us. Donald Trump, a former president of the United States of America, has now been arrested. The case that we are looking at is that of the hush money that was paid to Stormy Daniels. Although, according to reports that have now come in, more than 30 charges have been leveled against Donald Trump. They've not yet been made public. We expect that these charges will be made public in some time from now. But this is something that was expected to happen. Donald Trump has, of course, been arrested, and he's pleaded not guilty, is what we are told. He's pleaded not guilty to 34 felony charges. This is the latest bit of information that is trickling out of the Manhattan court. The former president of the United States of America has pleaded not guilty after being accused of 34 felony counts, including falsifying business records. What is the case against Donald Trump? What are the precise charges? That is still not clear. But what you're looking at is the commotion outside of the court in Manhattan. Remember, this is not just a legal issue. It is deeply a political issue, and it has divided America right down the middle. On the left of your screens, you're looking at Donald Trump. This is the first image of Donald Trump from inside of the prison room. And this is what you're looking at on your right of the screens is one of the supporters of Donald Trump, who, of course, has tried to take off the black flag that the opponents of Donald Trump had tried to put in place, accusing Donald Trump of the charges, saying that he is being meted with the justice that he deserves. But Trump supporters are, of course, not happy with that kind of signaling, and therefore what we have witnessed is a bit of a scuffle of sorts. There was pushing and shoving that has been clearly witnessed. We're given to understand that there were at least about 100 supporters on either side, for Trump and against Trump, who of course turned up at the Manhattan court. And we still don't know what the charges are. Trump lies all the time. This was the message that was held up by some of the Trump detractors, and one of his supporters, of course, walked up and tried to take that cloth down. And this, remember, is a moment which just highlights again as to how deeply divided America is politically. Donald Trump's team has, of course, earlier said that this is a political witch hunt and nothing less than that. And Donald Trump, he has gone on to state that he has done nothing wrong. Stormy Daniels has said that she was paid hush money, that is 130,000 American dollars, for an affair that she says that she consensually had with Trump back in 2006. She was paid the hush money in 2016 to not talk about the affair. And to give us more insights in terms of how this will, of course, play out at this moment, we're being joined by Corinne Clark from Washington, D.C. She's the co-founder of freepressfail.com. And we also have Miss Loris Elizabeth, and she's also joining us live on this broadcast. Ms. Corinne, let me in fact begin by asking you this. What we are witnessing at this moment is unprecedented. A former president of the United States of America has been arrested. He faces, according to reports that are trickling out, 34 charges. Trump's legal team says that this is a political witch hunt. How do you look at all this?
I definitely think it is a political witch hunt, and this is just the latest escalation of what they've been trying to do to Trump since the moment he walked off the escalator in 2015 and declared his candidacy for president. We have seen this entire system work against Trump from the day he announced to the day he left office, and they're still doing it again, and that is because they are so worried. Not that Trump is going to run again, but that Trump is going to win again. And that is not because they're just afraid of Trump. That is because this corrupt system fears the American people. They do not want Americans to make their voices heard. They do not want Trump to get into office again. And they do not want him in office because he is the only one who threatens the corruption.
Absolutely, indeed. Corin, do continue to stay on with us. We still have Ms. Elizabeth Loris. She's the president of E. Loris Consulting. Ms. Loris, this is a crucial moment in American politics because as things stand at this point of time, we still do not know what the 34 charges are. But he, according to reports that have come in, has pleaded not guilty for being accused of 34 felony counts, including that of falsifying business records. Now, we still need to look at what the charges are that have been leveled against him. But looking in terms of just the optics of what is playing out even in front of the Manhattan court, it just points as to how deeply divided the United States of America is.
Oh, absolutely. It indicates to the world that we are not united and that our politics are deeply fragmented. And they can take the message that it's going to be hard for the United States to move forward if we are politically divided. A house politically divided will fall. And the optics are not good on two levels. The first is we do look like other very politically weak countries that regularly persecute and prosecute leaders once they leave office. Once the opposition comes in, they go after the last incumbent of office. So that looks quite petty. And the other optic is that the United States looks weak compared to other countries. You know, Xi Jinping, the leader of China, right, his latest mantra is that the Chinese centralized political system is superior to that of the West.
Right.
And the United States has had a lot of difficulty recently demonstrating that democracy is a model political system for other countries.
Absolutely, indeed. But to be fair, Xi Jinping is also one of those leaders who's been accused of, in fact, crushing all opposition in his country so that he can have almost, uninhibited access to power, which he has been trying to exercise. But what we are looking at is almost unprecedented. Let me bring in Corin Clark here. Ms. Clark, we still do not know what the charges are that have been leveled against Donald Trump. At this point of time, we're given to understand he's got 34 charges that have been leveled against him. But the question that I want to ask you is this. This is a case that dates back to nearly about 2016, because that is when, Stormy Daniels says that she was paid the hush money of $130,000, although the affair, she says, she had consensually with Donald Trump was back in 2006. Now, for the case to come up now, a lot of legal questions will, of course, be gone into, but at this moment, all of it is in the realm of speculation. So I'm not asking about the charges, but the fact that this case has come up, about 18 months before the next general election in the United States of America, is this something that, as the Trump team claims, a clear case of, Donald Trump being taken off from the running for the presidency that he presently is in for?
It is suspicious timing, to say the least.
All right, we seem to have lost the line with Corin Clark. They will try and reconnect with her in just a bit. But this is the image, that you'll see on the headlines tomorrow morning. This is Donald Trump sitting inside the courtroom, looking pretty solemn there, very quiet. He's flanked on either side by his legal team. And we're given to understand that he's been told by his legal team to not speak to the media, because when he entered into the courtroom, he chose not to speak with any of the reporters there. This is a sensational case. This is a case that a lot of people from around the world are looking. It also has gone on to highlight as to how deeply divided the United States of America is. Donald Trump continues to remain popular with the Republican camp, But some are indicating that if Donald Trump gets into more and more legal trouble, then that, of course, could potentially affect his presidential bid that he is gunning for. But there are others who are turning around and saying that no matter what happens in this particular legal case, even if Donald Trump were to be convicted as he's charged, even then, that will not affect his presidential campaign for 2024. And it remains to be seen as to how, all of these things will, of course, play out. But at this moment, it is pretty tricky because everything is still in the realm of speculation. The charges, the 34 counts, have not been made public yet, and this is something that's baffling for international viewers who are watching this particular case, because the indictment happened a few days back, and to this point, we still don't know what the charges against Donald Trump are. And also, the court has not allowed for the proceedings inside the court to be videographed and to be broadcast live, although there were many American news agencies who wanted that should happen. And we have Ms. Elizabeth Loris, who's still live with us. Ms. Loris, this is, a case that will be talked about for many days to come. And we're given to understand that Donald Trump is likely to secure bail. He'll walk out of the court premises in some time from now. And he also has an event in Florida where he'll go and address his supporters. But we don't know whether he'll, in fact, speak about this particular legal case. It's difficult to go into the merits of this case at this moment because we still don't know what the charges are against him. And, tell us a bit about, why is it that the charges against Donald Trump have still not been made public? Because it would be common sense that if an individual is charged, then those charges need to be made public.
Yes, well, he's been indicted, but very often charges are sealed until someone comes for arraignment. And that's what is happening now. He's been brought in for processing, then he's delivered to the courtroom, and then in the courtroom, someone is arraigned, where they hear all the charges against them, asked if they have legal counsel, and then the judge decides if he or she wants to release the defendant on bail, and bail is set, or if the defendant is released on his or own recognizance, which I expect will happen. I expect the judge will release Trump, and then he will fly back to Mar-a-Lago on his jet. But I think beyond the criminal, charges here and why they're being brought, politically, this is going to have a very chilling effect on politicians, particularly Republican politicians who have seen the constant sniping at Trump, both when he was in office and since he left office in very early of 2021. I mean, could you imagine being a Republican running for office and wondering what charges are going to be brought up against you? And so I think that there's going to be a lot of fear in politicians running for office. And President Trump, he still has tremendous influence in the party. Now, could you imagine after this, you're running for office and you're holding campaign rallies. The question is going to be, do you invite President Trump because he brings a lot of enthusiasm, or do you shy away from him and say, no, I don't want him at my campaign rally, but then he might be the front runner for the Republicans. So it makes a very, very difficult political environment, but particularly for Republicans.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.